Hi, here I am with another practical training design top tip. This week I want to take it right back to basics in some ways, because if you know anything about me, if you've heard me speak more than about half a dozen times, you will probably have heard me saying that you should never start your training design in PowerPoint. But I don't know if I've ever properly explained the order in which to create things. Now, when I'm talking about what we need to design, I'm talking about designing for a live event. As you know, I'm not an e-learning developer, so other rules probably apply if you are designing online courses or e-learning. But if you're designing a live training event, I'm just going to quickly explain the order that I do things and why I do them in that order. Not to say that you can't vary from that if that's going to suit your purposes, but after years and years and years of designing training, I found that this order feels to me like the most logical and the most efficient. So where do we start? Well, we start with the course outline, of course. The course outline is the 1 to 2 page maximum outline of what it is you're going to design. So that will have your overall aim, it will have your objectives, and it will have your key content just listed in the order that you want to run it. And any key activities will probably be on that as well, just so that you know that where they're going to fit in, and so you can account for them when you're putting your timings together. Now, there is a how-to guide on how to design a course outline, because I think it's really, really crucial that we get this right. We get this right because that will allow you to get sign-off from your stakeholders, and it provides a blueprint for your more detailed design, so that you're less likely to go off-piste, drift away from where it is you're supposed to be going, and then start going down rabbit holes. So the first thing we need to design is that course outline. Once we've done the course outline, the next logical step for me is to start your session plan. Now, there's a mini course on how to design a session plan if this is something that you're not used to doing. And the session plan is exactly what it says. So it's that course outline, but really, really expanded. So that has got everything in that you want to cover, all of the key points that you want to raise. It's got the details of your exercises. It's got the questions that you're going to ask to kickstart discussions. It's got links to the support material that you're going to need, any equipment, any visual aids. So if you if you do that online course on how to do a session plan, you'll see how that kind of builds in bits again, because we write the core content first. And then what we do is we then go back and say, actually, I'm going to add a visual aid there, or I'm going to need a handout there, or we're going to need some equipment. So we don't necessarily do it all at once, but we get the core content down in that session plan and we write it in detail. From that point, you have two options. You can either produce the Delegate workbook, if that's something that you do as part of your training design, or you can go to the pre-course work. When I worked with corporates, it satisfied the key stakeholders to feel that they had all of the information they needed in one place. So I was in the habit of creating a detailed Delegate workbook. So that would be the thing that I generally created next, because then I would make sure that everything that was covered in the session plan was also captured in the Delegate workbook. And it made it really easy in the session plan to say, refer to Delegate workbook for more information. So if it's not you delivering it and your facilitator needs a bit more information, they just have to go there. You haven't got to put it in two places. Otherwise, if you're not one for creating a Delegate workbook, it's a good idea now to go and do your pre-course work. So you've looked at your session plan, what needs to happen before we actually get people into that session. What do they need to read? What do they need to look at? What do they need to do? So get that all written down, get that all put together in a nice little booklet, because then you know that that's been covered and it won't distract you anymore. Once you've done your workbook or your pre-course work, then I think it's appropriate to start looking at your slides. So we've got the session, we know exactly what's going to happen when, we know how we're going to cover things, we've got that detailed information there. So what prompts do we need, either for the facilitator or for the delegates? And the reason I do the slides after the delegate workbook is it's very easy to just copy a diagram, copy a flow chart, take out the headings and just put them into bullet points, and it makes creating your slides very, very quick and easy, and you know for sure that they are following exactly what you want to cover in your session plan. Obviously, we then need to make those slides beautiful, but that is something that we can do right at the end. Get your content into your slides, make sure that you've got the right slides there, make sure they are doing what you want them to do, and then you can go back and pretty them up. Then, the other thing we can do with our slides then is we can go back to our session plan, and we can either put thumbnails in of those slides, or we can just reference, refer to slide 4, whatever it is. So your session plan continues to build. Once we've done that, you go back to your session plan again and you look through it and you think, we needed a case study here. Oh, we needed a questionnaire there. And then you create those extra materials that you need to support your session. And I like to pull them all out of the session plan, do myself a little list, and then it's very easy to tick them off when you've done them. You might even find that actually, with hindsight, I could put that questionnaire in pre-course work. So again, if we've already done that pre-course work, you can slot it in, or we can just signpost that as something that we can include in the pre-course work, which is what I do after I've done the handouts. So now I know exactly how that session's going to run. I know exactly what people need to do. It's very easy for me to see which bits need to be done in advance or which bits can be self-study. And quite often I will put those self-scoring questionnaires in pre-course work. I will signpost videos for people to watch in the pre-course work so that during the session we can get straight into the activities, assuming a certain level of knowledge. So once you've done your pre-course work, and obviously you go back to your session plan and you can reference in your session plan, this was included in the pre-course work. You can reference the specific titles of the handouts that you've now written. So your session plan is now pretty much complete. Then we can go and finish it off with any post-course work that we need to do. So we've got all of the information there now. It's very easy to visualize exactly what people have gone through, what their learning journey has been, and now we can create that post-course work to help them to embed, apply and encourage further learning. So that's the order that I tend to do things in: outline, session plan, workbook, slides, handouts, pre-course work, post-course work, remembering to go back to your session plan and make sure that everything is cross-referenced and it's got the right labels that it needs to have. So that's a whistle-stop tour of what's the best order to do your training design in, and I hope you found it useful. Take care.